This is the Netgear N900. One fast router. Extremely fast. It's also very, very large. It's very sleek as well. Let me just dust it off so it gets the proper treatment. All right, here it is, the N900. Now, yes, 900 megabits per second. The way that works is there's two antennas in there, one running at the 2.4 gigahertz range and one running at the 5 gigahertz range. They are each capable of up to 450 megabits per second. That's about the same speed as USB 2. There's two USB ports in the back here, so you can hook up hard drives and set up network share so that you can share movies and files all over the house. Or you can set up a printer and share the printer. And since there's two, you can do one of each. One hard drive, one printer. That might be what I do, because then everybody in the house will have access to that. And since it's 450 megabits per second, of course, in the 5 gigahertz and the 2.4 gigahertz range, you're going to be able to share the files at pretty much the exact same speed, maybe a little bit slower, than USB 2.0, depending on where your computer is in relation to the device. Because remember, if you're way, way far away, the signal may not be 100%, so you won't get the full 450 megabit per second, or, you know, whatever thing. Sorry, I got distracted by these cords. All right, let's talk about some of the features on this device. Now, you do have Gigabit wired in the back, which is really nice. That gives you 1,000 megabits per second. And if you do have a NAS, you can plug the NAS up. That's a network attached storage. If you have one that does support Ethernet, instead of USB, you can plug that into the back and then get the full 1,000 megabits per second to share those files across the entire network. And when you first plug this in, some of you guys are intimidated. And then another problem is some of the people with tablets, Android, iOS, and that sort of thing have issues when you're trying to run, or set up the devices on those. Well, you don't need a CD to set this up. All you need to do is go to 192.168.1.1 in your browser. You can do that on your Android device or on your PC, and then a Genie magically pops up. You can do like I did and skip the Genie and just go in and get down to brass tacks and get it done that way. I'll show you the firmware in just a second. Or you can run through the Genie and get your internet connection all set up and everything. Should be pretty easy. Any more features that I want to talk about? Of course, you got your parental controls. One thing I do like about this, it allows you to set up a separate guest network that's separate from your regular network. So if people come over, you can give them the guest network password or whatever. Maybe you can just set up a guest network with no password and make it very restricted. You can restrict it down to say they can't touch my network, they can't have my network shares. Yeah. Indeed, they cannot have it. And they can't use my printer either, because I don't want them printing out pictures of, I don't know. What would you print out pictures of? If you got onto someone's network and you had access to their printer, what would you print out pictures of? Fancy mustaches, mayhaps. Righto. What else is on here? DLNA, some share. I'm just reading the back of the box. That's what most reviewers do, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look at the firmware. This firmware makes me happy. Logging into this device, you can go to your browser and just bring up 192.168.1.1. And the default username is admin. And then it's password. Password is password. All right. My password is earwax. I don't know. Anyway, once you get here, you got your basic options and your advanced options. I'm going to take a look at the advanced options because the basic options are a little bubbly. I'll go through a few of these. Of course, you've got you can attach devices with USB, parental controls, keep those kids away from things that'll make their eyes bleed. Ready share, so you can share your USB, set up some USB shares all over the network. And you've got a guest network, so when you have guests over, some cretins that you don't care for or whatever, you want to keep them away from your shares, you can give them a guest network, give them network access without them, without giving them the ability to break your regular network. So that can also be good for business, especially since this is so fast. Now, taking a look at the advanced options, you've got the setup wizard and the WPS wizard. That's so you can touch one button and connect it to another WPS-enabled device. All right, under setup there, we've got internet setup. Of course, you can go in and you can set up your IP address, etc., etc. Set up the MAC addresses. There's pretty standard stuff here. Under your WAN setup, yes. So what we have here, I'm just going to let you guys look at and see what's on the screen. So your DMZ server, LAN setup. Now, actually, here's where you change your IP address. And I also want to note that you can change your device name. And then at the bottom here, you can set whether or not you want to use this as a DHCP server. Sometimes you use a different device as your DHCP server. If you have a different router, you want to be the main router, and this one to be a secondary router, just sharing files all over the place, or however you want to set it up. So you can either use it as a DHCP server or not. You got QoS set up, quality of service. That's so you can assign priority to certain tasks. If you're playing a video game and someone else in the other room is, I don't know, file sharing or something, and you want to make sure that you have priority on your video game, well, go ahead and add a QoS rule in there that allows your program to take over. And then you can set up your guest network. And then I'll show you, there's all the options you have for that, but we'll also see these options again under wireless. And which did I skip over wireless? Yeah, I believe I did. Now here's your wireless setup. Now you have two wireless antennas, and the max speed on each of those is 450 megabits per second, so that's almost the same speed as USB 2.0. And you can set up each one of those wireless networks independently, or allow them to use the same one. This is nice because you can have someone streaming a movie from the device and someone else using the internet, and they won't be interfering with each other, which is nice. All right, USB storage. Let's click on that. There's your basic settings. You can set up some shares. There we go. Now, there's no shares currently hooked up to this. You can also set up a printer that you can share over the network. You can set up FTP, which is nice, and also HTTP access. So you can access this from wherever you want. Indeed. And then you can also set it up as a media server and enable DLNA. Pretty cool. Work with all your DLNA enabled devices. Let's go down and look at security, the scrutiny. Of course, you've got parental controls. That's trying to open up parental controls. You can block certain services. All right. Scheduling things. What are you going to schedule? I don't know. The schedule will basically allow you to, or under certain times, maybe when the kids are asleep, you can turn access to certain websites back on. Recreational websites, we'll call them. Just don't hurt your neck or your back. You can turn on email alerts as well. Can be handy. So when someone tries to, access one of your blocked sites, it'll send you an email alert saying, like, little Johnny was trying to get onto naughty.com. Oh dear. All right. And then the rest is, of course, under administration, your router status has logging, of course. A list of all your attached devices to the router. And that's wired and wireless. It's always good to monitor who's connected. And here's something that's kind of cool. You can actually save, after you set up your router, a lot of work goes into this. You can save all the settings and then to a file. And then suppose you either flash your router, or it gets reset or something, or you get a new router that's just like this for the other room. Well, you can upload the settings that you've created and basically restore all the settings of the router to that. And then of course there's your router update. Tons of stuff here. Let me see, what else do I want to talk about? Of course, wireless repeating, which is very, very handy. This can be set up to as a wireless repeater. Very nice. Port forwarding. So you can download things, forward the correct ports. Dynamic DNS. Static routes, remote management, which is kind of cool. UPnP, of course, it's a standard feature, and that's what's going to be used by most video game traffic and file sharing and that sort of thing. Video games are all UPnP these days, right? I'm pretty sure, yeah. All right. Traffic meter, of course, and your USB settings, which seems to be USB on and off. Maybe when I plug in some USB, I've not looked at this firmware yet. I'm just pretending I know what I'm talking about. Can you tell? There you have it. The firmware is very complete. You can do a lot of really cool things with it. It's not currently compatible with DDWRT, but that's okay for me. The firmware with this does just about everything I need. If I need something extreme, maybe I'll figure out some other way to hack it. But I don't think I'm going to need anything more extreme than this. Again, the Netgear N900, 900 megabits per second, 450 by 450. Gigabit Ethernet in the back, 2 USB ports in the back as well. Very complete router from Netgear. See you next time.